Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, instructional, and technology coach for my district.
And I'm the one who books all the shows, Fuzz
that's
Martin.
Cute.
Oh, thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your support.
Gold star.
I've been working on it for a week.
Or at least the last hour.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
Okay. Well, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, man. This is great.
So great.
It's so great. So great.
Episode 97.
97. We're inching up there.
We're getting to 100.
100. And we're talking about something today that we've talked about before, right?
We did. We talked about it in episode 82.
But this season, we're going in depth about different.
I bet you could put a sound effect with that one now too.
In depth. Let's find out what.
Do you have a sound effect?
Let's find out what sound effects I have. Let's play this one. Oh no, that's not the one. Yeah, we're going in depth.
No, I'm thinking. Okay.
No.
Okay, we're gonna stop playing with the soundboard now. Guess what? Yeah, there's fun things now.
I've got a toy.
This year's podcast. Yes. So we are kind of going back to a few things that some of the teachers I work with use often, or there's been updates and things like that. So we're going to throw in some new tech tools this season, and then also revisit some tech tools that have been updated or they're fan favorites, or I use them a lot, so I want to talk about them more, all of those things.
And also,
yes,
on the website, you're giving walkthroughs.
Correct.
Of each of these via YouTube.
Correct. So I will also, yes, there'll be like a video that also goes with the podcast.
So you can take a look at each of these and.
Wow. You just got a whole bunch of them.
Oh yeah. I've got a notepad full of puns.
At least a Google Keep, right? So we are going to talk about Blooket this week, if you have not picked up on that yet. It was on episode 82 when we talked about gamifying your classroom. And there's so many cool things about Blooket that I had to come back and spend more time with it. It is a gamified tool that I use in my classroom weekly, and teachers in our district for all different ages and subject areas use it. It's helpful tool and it's fun to do, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about this week. So Blooket.
Look it up. If you want more information, look it up.
So some of the things that Blooket is fantastic for. So if you're going to do like a vocabulary review, repeating concepts that come back into your classrooms, whether it's math equations, like memorizing like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What's nice about Blooket is you can add a picture to it. So you can actually like show student examples like, hey, what is this? Like an equation, what would you use for? You can use it in math. You can use it easily in vocabulary in any concept that you would like. You also can use it for knowledge checks, like reviewing your content with students and things like that if you need to. And for team building, it's kind of fun because the games in Blooket are not your typical just answer this one way and you get a point kind of thing. When you go into Blooket, so Blooket, BLOOKET.com. It will always tell you that you're spelling it wrong because it looks like book.
Oh yeah.
Or booklet. And so I can tell you, I like type it and it's like, you spelled that wrong. I'm like,
are you
no.
sure you didn't mean?
Right. I'm like, no, I spelled it right. Anyway, BLOOKET.com. And you can create your own sets. So you go in, you're like, hey, I want to make a new set. And right across your top, you have your little toolbar. So you can do all kinds of things. If you click the little create button, you create a new set. You can upload like cover images, add your title description, and then you can choose if it's going to be public or private, all those types of things. And then what's kind of cool, those of you that use Quizlet already, you can import your Quizlet flashcards into Blooket. So if you already have sets of things in Quizlet, you don't have to start from scratch to put your information in, which is awesome. And this basically can gamify one of your Quizlets that you already have created, which is awesome. So you go to create, you create your set, and then you can go ahead and add your questions or again, import your questions if you'd like to, and just work your way through. It's step by step, add an image, add your question, and then choose your answers, A, B, C, D. You can add specific time limits per question. So if you really want students to like sit down, if they are doing a problem, they have to work something out, you can give them more time. If you really want them to answer quickly, you can shorten your time. They also can do random answer order, so they're constantly changing things. Like there's a lot of options for this one, and it's super flexible. So create your own set, save it, and you're good to go. If you want to see what other people have created in Blooket, in that little toolbar across the top, you can hit Discover, and there's all kinds of things. There's Name That Logo, which is a favorite of my students when we are not doing vocabulary practice, because they have all kinds of fun logos. They also have like multiplication facts already built in for someone has created that one. Name that animal, guess that food. So there's like fun ones that you can choose, like football team challenge, or what's that in Minecraft, or various things that you can pick and choose from. And so there's a lot of different options for your quizzes. But I guess there's a lot of quizzing tools out there like Kahoot and various others that you can play, like Quizlet Live and stuff. But what's cool about Blooket is, I feel like I'm a salesperson right now. There's more than one game to play. If you're going to host as a teacher, you can say, hey, class, you want them like team building and really playing against each other. You can do battle royale, put your students head to head and super competitive. All of the racing one is super competitive. But if you choose something like cafe, the students are answering questions on their own computer, but they can't, you can kind of see a leaderboard on your classroom screen or projector, but the pressure isn't so great because they're playing against, they're trying to earn money. And what's kind of cool about the cafe one, if you've got a kid who's squirreling away the funds at the end, they just drop it all because you get a countdown at the end, and then they like wipe the rest of the class out and they don't even know. So that's pretty cool. They have Tower of Defense, which is my kid's favorite, where they are playing, it looks like they're playing around a game board and they can kind of see where people are, but again, like someone will run across something and something happens and then the whole class has to like go back 3 answers or something like that. So it's more like a Candyland board game. Yeah. Instead of just having 1 or 2 game board types, there are 10 different games that students can play from, which is super fun. And because they have so many options, you can play according to what your classroom needs. Or at the time, you can also set time limits on them. So the cafe game, we're only going to play for 3 minutes, or we're going to play it for 15 minutes. You can make adjustments to how long the games are going to. So there's just a lot more adjustments. They're super fun to play, and they're really engaging for students. So we like to play them a lot. A lot. There's also a way in Blooket that you can assign the games as homework. So if you want to assign students, and maybe not homework necessarily, but you can assign
an assignment,
yeah, like as an assignment, and how they can play on their own. And you can kind of set that up in your dashboard. And there's a lot of options. Like there's stats. So if kids play games and they have their account, they can go through and check their stats. You can manage things that way. They have their, all kinds of tools, and Blooks are the big thing. Blooks are, do you know what the Blooks are?
No, I don't know what the Blooks are. I can't get into it because I don't have an account, so I can't play around with it.
Oh,
so
look at you.
I have to watch your videos.
You do have to watch my videos, or just create a free account. Because it's
free!
But Blooks are the characters.
Okay. Oh, yes. The Blooks are the little,
we've talked about this before, remember?
Yeah, the little like cows and tigers and bears. Yeah.
So also they've added more Blooks to this collection.
What do they look like?
It's got a whole bunch of them. And you have to unlock them as you like do stuff. But can you guess what every kid in my class fights over? They have to be
unicorn.
They have to be the first one signed in. And then if someone gets it, they get super angry.
All right.
And then they like unsubmit themselves and resubmit to try and get
Is it a puppy?
No.
Cat?
No. I mean, you're naming all of the animals. There's a raccoon.
Is there a
parrot.
narwhal?
There's not a narwhal.
Is there a tuna fish?
It is like so like typical Wisconsin.
A cow.
Yeah.
The
they
cow.
fight for the cow.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I was like, really?
good for
all
them.
the cute animals, they always fight for the cow.
Yeah. I know our child would go for the unicorn. Is there a unicorn?
No.
Maybe.
Not
No.
you have to unlock the unicorn, I think. It's not in the regular play version.
Okay. I'd be a bear. What would you be?
I think that the raccoon is adorable.
Okay.
So that would probably be my first choice. The raccoon. The owl looks pretty cool too. It looks like Hedwig from Harry Potter.
Oh yeah. I have a little I can't go with the cartoon owls now because Duolingo has abused me so much with their notifications trying to get me to learn German that I block any owls out now if they're in a square design format.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Would
but
you
do
say
realize that Duolingo is a parrot, right?
Duolingo's a parrot?
It's a green parrot.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's an owl. It's a green owl. All right, well, we'll discuss.
Sure it's a parrot.
I'm pretty sure it's an owl.
Oh. Mm. Yeah, maybe it's an owl.
Yeah, I played.
But I always figured because it was green, it was a parrot.
No, I can see why you thought that. I will say after learning for
like 2 years straight.
more than 365 days straight without forgetting to play, RIP bedtime, that I knew it was an owl. Would you say, like, going back to Blooket,
Yes.
would you say that your kids are more engaged when they're playing and learning this way?
They would play Blooket over if any class activity. If I gave them a choice, they would say, "Can we do a Blooket
Nice.
to review for anything?"
Okay.
And I do a lot of different review games, and we do them all because there's different days when I need different sets of information.
Mm-hmm.
But here's an example of Blooket and the excitement that it causes. I did some staff workshops at the start of the school year, and I wanted to expose them to different things that some use and some don't. And I was like, well, for my example of how people will want to reflect and stuff, reflecting, I'll get into it. But anyway, so I was like, I'm going to throw the questions in Blooket. So I had them set a goal. So we're going to play a game, and we're talking about goal setting.
Yeah.
The workshop was about goal setting. So you're going to set a goal, and then we're going to play a game, and then we're going to see, how do you want to win? Do you want to just pass, like goal setting? And then I said, oh, and after they wrote their goal, I'm like, I will tell you it's going to be a digital game. Do you want to adjust your goal? Because we practiced, we're going through the goal setting process with the staff, mind you. So I threw my Blooket together that was based on school supplies. I'm like, anybody Sharpie, Post-it note,
Yeah.
I have never seen our staff get so competitive. They're like, this game is awesome. And they're yelling at each other, that's not a Sharpie, that's a highlighter. Because they're Sharpie highlighters. Oh my goodness. And so they're like, and I kind of cut them off. I was like, we're going to run out of time. They're like, no, we need to finish this. We need to know who wins.
I need to level up.
Yes. And so they're like, this is so cool. And I had so many staff walk out we're doing this with our kids. Because I have AP Psych using it in their class to sixth grade math.
Yeah.
To social studies, to weekly vocab, to word parts, to roots. You can put any of your content in them. And holy cow, I put the staff head to head in Battle Royale is what I did with them. And I was like, never again. Because I'm like, okay, back. Let's all focus. We're talking about goal setting here and then trying to get our staff to reflect and do goal setting. It was super fun and engaging, and I ended up using it in a second workshop because I was like, okay, this went really well in the first one, and then we started, I don't know, somehow I built Blooket into another one of our workshops because the staff was super excited to play. So.
Are you finding that staff are using Blooket now outside of just your classroom? Are there others that are using Blooket?
Yes. The kids will walk in and say, they know how, they would come from our classroom. And usually we talk, so we're not all doing the same thing in the same day. But sometimes it's like last year it ran across where they did a Blooket. I'm like, oh, well, we can do something else today for our review. And they're like, no, we want to play. I'm like, okay, well, what game did you play? And then we just play a different one because there's so many choices. You don't have to.
Blooket accounts port from one class to another?
Well, they just sign in. And when you're hosting, so as a teacher, I host it.
Okay.
And then they just put in a code to play.
Okay. So they're not creating the kids don't have to create an account at all.
They do. They don't have to.
Okay.
But most of them have one because that's how they keep their cows. Because then I can have more than one cow.
Yeah.
If you have an account they sign in, yes, and they sign in, then more than one kid can be the cow.
Okay.
But if we're just playing randomly, that's the other thing. So Blooket has a random name generator. So if you got those kids that like to make the names that are not appropriate for class and you're sick of arguing with them, or a lot of times I just say first name, last initial. But every once in a while, I like to throw in random name generator, and they are hilarious. Blooket makes them, and they're funny. They're funny, random, weird names.
Yep.
Which is fun, except for I, as a teacher, then can't track which kid's winning, which is good because then the kids don't know who's winning.
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't know who knows the content and who doesn't.
Yeah, like, hey, which one of you is Yawning Panda?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what they are. So I've been going around the room, and sometimes, like, they win stickers or something in my classroom, and I'm like, I don't know who whatever is. You got the sticker. And they all look. They're like, oh, that's so-and-so. They figure it out. So it's fun. And it is nice because when we're starting something new and you want to make sure that students are building confidence in what they're doing. You don't want like their name plastered up there that they're the last person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So by having the random names, it's totally like they don't pay attention enough. They want to pay attention to what they're doing versus what other people are doing.
Sure.
But if they play in solo where they can practice on their own, if they have their own account, then you can share the games and then they can play. So
sounds fun. I want to play.
Yeah. And students can create, teachers obviously can, but if they have an account, they can create their own Blookets too. So if they want to make their own deck to review words, or if like a Spanish class and they're practicing, like they can do all of that in Blooket, which is really nice too.
And the teachers be like, look at you learning. Look at you learning.
You did really good with
Thank you.
Good work.
I was worried about this one, but I shouldn't have been because it's too easy. I'm playing on easy mode right now.
You are.
With my cow.
With your cow. With your cow. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, yes, that's all about Blooket. It's super fun. And I'll make a little video to show you some Blooket in action for the website.
Very good.
Coolness.
Check that out at smartandwi.com if you're listening on your Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Podcasts, or really wherever you listen to podcasts. iHeartMedia. And we go on Amazon Music.
I'm glad you've listed them all off now. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartnwi.com or find me on Facebook. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart NWI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies that we've discussed in this episode of this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This show offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but that's why we do it. And we'll talk to you next time on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.